now that I have used the word gender, I need to say and give a disclaimer that I am not in any way approving the move to make USA a non-gendered community. Because that's the next thing that our friends are pushing now. That we're a non-gendered community. No, that's not what we are talking about. And that's what Apostle Paul was trying to say. And some of our brethren twist to their own hurt. But that we would allow the Holy Spirit to make these things clear in our heart would immediately see that that is not what he's talking about. But in this place is talking about the image and the glory of God and the role. He's talking about two things here. The man that he says he talks about here is the image and the glory of God. But the male is given a role that allows the female to be his glory. Am I making any sense? I ask people when we have some of this discussion that who is more powerful, the one who glorifies or the one who receives the glory? Who is given the glory?
The one that is
Let's,
given
let's not
glory.
go into the argument. I just want you to think about it. So if I say, Sister Folarinde, come and help me, what have I admitted? In a way, I have admitted that Sister Folarinde has some strength that I lack. And in that area of my existence, I am weaker than Sister Folarinde. Does that make sense? Is that logical?
Yes, sir.
So, but we turn around and call the woman the weaker vessel. Yet we say she is the helper. So there's a little confusion somewhere there, but I would not steer the honest list tonight because some people might not listen to me again. I know that everyone still loves me. I'm still your good brother Shayo. And I am not a feminist, by the way. Feminism is so cheap. What God have done for our women, if they talk about feminism near you, you should say, what is that? Because God has so crowned you with glory and with honor.
Thank you, sir.
You don't need feminism at all. You don't need it. But tonight is not the night we are dealing with that. But Apostle James the elder went ahead and helped us to clarify, the convoluted proposition that I'm presenting to you. He said, we bless God, even the Father, with our tongue. We curse men, but we forget that these men are made after the similitude of God. Now, in presenting this proposition, Apostle James already again defaulted back to Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, where man is male and female. Let's go on. So, when we begin to talk about Imago Dei, it's like in each century, people begin to paint the picture that suits their own century. People begin to take positions that they feel should, and it's like we have been tasked with discovering it anew. It was Paul Ricoeur who called it the indestructible symbol of the unchanging treasury of the biblical canons. If I ask you, when we say that you are made in the image of God, what comes to your heart? Who is going to help me now? If I say we are made in the image of God, what comes to your heart, people? Is there anyone that wants to try? Paint a picture. Because that philosophy said, even though this thing is the indestructible symbol of a treasury of a biblical canons, that each century must discover it anew. So if I say you are made in the image of God, what picture comes to your mind? You know, when we say, oh, we are made in the image of God, you know what we immediately do? If you
Physical.
would agree with me, in our brain, we immediately begin to make God into our own image. Okay? You know, we will see in the course of our studies in the college that there is actually in the course of this study, I think there are sections in which we will see the tendency to make to create an anthropomorphic picture of God in which God looks like man. But beyond that is a non-anthropomorphic reality, and I want us to paint that picture as we are moving forward. You know, so there's a wealth of meaning surrounding it. There's a wealth of meaning. You know, some of the current theologians, the ones that are not so old, they don't respect. They say that we are the ones that are giving meaning to image of God. We are the ones that are saying, "Oh, Imago Dei." They say Beckhoff, for instance, as you can see, says systematic theologies are poured meaning into Genesis 1:26. Norman Slate said, many Orthodox theologians through the centuries have lifted the phrase image of God out of its context. And like Humpty Dumpty, they have made the word to mean just what they choose it to mean. So you find a trend among new theologians that think, we have a better understanding of this Imago Dei thing than the older ones. But let's look at what the older ones have to say. The older ones, on the other hand, they do not question Imago Dei. They do not scorn it. You know, we should not forget that the scripture makes it clear that scorners are fools. But let's not go there. The other theologians, they do not scorn Imago Dei. They assume that there is an accurate proposition that is called Imago Dei, and they come at it from a speculative rather than an exegetical position. They come at it from a speculative rather than an exegetical position. So, exegesis says, I know about these things. I can judge based on the fact that are presented before me, based on the evidences that I can adduce. I can judge. Speculation says, rather, this is true. How can we apply it? You know, so two different positions. You know, so the new theologians act as if they have a means with which they can engage and understand and decode decode God. Whereas the old theologian says, even though we can't see you, we know you are there. So we want to see how you act. Two different propositions. I hope we would hang with the old theologians